It's the second round of the DFB-Pokal. Eintracht Braunschweig against Borussia Dortmund, a game where form goes out the window. It's an all-or-nothing tie that could be decided in 90 minutes or maybe more. But both sides here with a point to prove. Braunschweig with nothing to lose in the role of underdogs. But they'd like to finish 2020 on a positive, the way they started this season on a positive with a 5-4 win over Hertha Berlin. And talking of positivity, that's exactly what Borussia Dortmund need. A difficult start to the season, a change of head coaches. Edin Terzic, the new man in charge. This his third game in charge in a space of 9 days, so he's had so little time to work with this side. But we wait to see what type of reaction we get from them tonight. Jadon Sancho on the ball, Murray on the overlap already. And the first advances are repelled by Braunschweig. James Sarugid, your match commentator, joining me, former Borussia Dortmund player Patrick Over-Mayela. And the start here tonight for Dortmund is important, isn't it, Patrick?
Yeah, it's very important. They have to show right away that they absolutely came to do business, to win this one, and let absolutely no questions be asked today. Otherwise, every minute the opponent and the, let's say, smaller team, Eintracht Braunschweig, will get stronger and more confident. So Dortmund needs to really push it and prove exactly who's the better team tonight.
As with every cup game, there's always lots of talk about favourites and underdogs. But the role of underdogs is one that Braunschweig certainly thrive in.
Yeah, and in the cup, there's usually a different thing. I mean, being the underdog in the cup works quite often and quite well. And the team that survived the first maybe 1 or 2 rounds, there are strictly no underdogs anymore after that, because they have proven then that they can do real damage even to bigger teams from first division.
Now, 2 young Englishmen combining Bellingham and Sancho.
There's going to be a lot of work today for Lasse Schlüter on the left back side, and on the other side as well.
But those two seem to have struck up a wonderful understanding, and they're always seemingly looking for one another, which I feel is a nice touch in this Dortmund side as well.
Yeah, there is obviously a connection. I mean, those two play together not just for Borussia Dortmund, but for the national team as well, since Jude Bellingham made his recent appearance. And of course, off the pitch, they get along quite well as well, and you feel that on the pitch.
Well, that's it. Something tells me they'll be spending Christmas together, given the fact that they are unable to travel home due to the latest restrictions. I was half tempted to try and invite them over to mine for a Sunday roast on Christmas Day, but something tells me Borussia Dortmund wouldn't quite allow that.
No, I'm not sure. You're not in that bubble, you know?
That's exactly it. It'd be a bit different if the invite came from you, Patrick. Bit of pressure here from Braunschweig. Here is Julian Brandt.
Yeah, instant pressure there.
And coped with it well, and he is a player that does have a point to prove.
Yeah, he's been in and out the starting lineup. He's a player that has so much potential, but has still to, you know, put it out there every time, in every game, every time he has a chance. Again, there he is, Julian Brandt.
And that's what you want, is early touches on the ball for someone like Brandt. Sancho is now doubled up on that far side.
It seems as they almost forgot that there's a big target at center at the moment. They should have crossed that ball early. Instead of that, they played it around like they usually do when Erling Haaland is not there. But Stefan Tigges is a guy that you can go to even through the air.
Brandt heavily involved in the build-up again. Couldn't quite get on the end of that one. Strong challenge from Dominic Vidra. Player signed in the summer. Brought a lot of experience with him, over 100 Bundesliga, 2 appearances to his name in his career. Braunschweig having 1 promotion from the 3rd tier, that's what they look to provide in the transfer market. They brought in more experience. Martin Koblianski, one of those players, as well as the captain, draws a foul from Murray.
Yeah, but it's good to see that Dortmund instantly pushes forward whenever they lose the ball. They try to apply pressure high. That's something Edin Terzic wants from his team, to get that ball back early and in a crucial area of the pitch.
Just to underline the golfing experience between these two sides, Mats Hummels tonight making his 50th appearance in the DFB-Pokal. Including tonight's match, Braunschweig's starting lineup only have a total of 51 combined as a dangerous ball goes in, but no one had really made the run because the chance came out of nowhere. But they won the ball in a promising position there, Braunschweig.
Yeah, that's something that Braunschweig needs to do. I mean, push high, win that balls, but then be confident. I mean, not many players believed that this would happen. That's why there was nobody there to aim for. Actually, a good approach.
Brandt with another neat layoff in midfield. Here is Hummels. .50 appearances, not enough to break into the all-time top 10 in the DFB-Pokal just yet for Mats Hummels, but still got time.
Yeah, I'm sure he will experience a couple of more of these games.
Oh, he's a player as well that showed a lot of emotion after that Union loss, Patrick. We saw him in his post-match interview right before it, just slamming the hoarding behind him as well. And some people were talking about that being a petulant move, but I look at that as going, that's exactly what I want to see from Mats Hummels in this situation that Dortmund are in right now.
Yeah, he's really someone who really, you know, is connected with this club and really wants to be successful with this club. And that's why maybe those bad results and those bad games go a little closer to him, a little, you know, more in depth to him than to other players. And that's something he showed there, and I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, something tells me as a centre-back and an elite defender, conceding twice from corners again against Union would have been really what rankled with him. Hummels out to Murray. Braunschweig keeping the lines very tight in the opening exchanges here.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy for Dortmund to find rooms to play in. First try to find Tigges there from Danaxel Zagadou.
I was going to say, yet to have a touch, and that's important for him to start getting involved in the game because he doesn't want to feel too disconnected.
Yeah, but it's good that he's not, you know, looking for those touches in areas on the pitch where he doesn't belong. He should stay up front, be a target, be, you know, on the feet, on the heels all the time and move constantly from left to right, make it hard for his defenders to figure him out. And then he will get his touches, I'm quite sure. The team will find him.
Just got to be ready when they come. Braunschweig coming forward with Lasse Schlüter.
Neatly done. Yeah, neatly done from Murray. Really calm. He played himself out of that pressure. And now Sancho over the left side.
Oh, cheeky little nutmeg from Sancho. Now Brandt moving at pace, but
a little bit of a wobble there. That's why he lost that ball. But Braunschweig is not really going for a counter-attack.
Well, there was nothing really on, but Marcel Baer trying to make something happen on that far side.
Not in my house, says Thomas Delaney. This again is the first time now after a couple of games that he has the chance to prove himself in midfield. And I think these kind of games are made for him, you know. It's going to be a hard-working game. It's not going to be easy, but that's exactly the kind of football he likes and he plays.
Sign of just how flexible this Dortmund front line are. Jadon Sancho has been right, left, centre. Bellingham couldn't find any options. Dortmund forced to retreat. Zagadou tries to break the lines. Now a chance for Abdullahi to stretch his legs. Murray out of position. Hummels comes across. Abdullahi did well to get round Hummels, but it allowed Murray to recover the situation.
And that's the kind of defending that I love, and that what you have to do, you know. Somebody has to really charge for it. Maybe a little risky, Mats Hummels being outplayed easily, but there's a second man then to help him out and cover his back and get that ball.
Well, historically speaking, something does have to change tonight. In 40 previous encounters in all competitions, it's 15 wins for Braunschweig, 15 wins for Dortmund, 10 draws. Very evenly matched over the years, but in modern times, it's certainly Dortmund that have been the more dominant of the two. And if you want to boil it down to just the DFB-Pokal meetings, it's 2 wins apiece as well. Braunschweig picking up back-to-back wins in the DFB-Pokal at least, although I say that, and they were 26 years apart. The first one coming in 1989, a 3-2 win in the second round. And then in 2005, that 2-1 victory here at the Eintracht Stadion. Dortmund took the lead in that game, then the floodlights went out. They lost their momentum, and all of a sudden Braunschweig came back after a 15-minute delay and won that game 2-1.
Actually, Roman Weidenfeller told me that. He told me that story, that he thought it was on purpose. You know, they turned off the lights just, you know, get the rhythm, going out for Dortmund.
Dangerous free kick, Delaney's there, Hummels too! And it is Mats Hummels who marks his milestone moment. 50 appearances in the DFB-Pokal, and he grabs a goal. His 6th in the competition. And Borussia Dortmund, it's been a tough start, but they've broken the deadlock.
Yeah, it's not going to make it easier for Braunschweig, but this was a good moment. I mean, Delaney on first post just missed it, really. And then Mats Hummels collected it. I'm still waiting for somebody to confirm that this is a good goal, but there is no VAR, so it's going to stand. And we'll see here the miss of Delaney, then a touch by Mats Hummels. I think it was the stomach. Let's say it was the stomach. And then, of course, he waits and is calm enough to get this one in. First goal for Dortmund, and now it's going to be a tough task for Braunschweig because they have to play it even more risky than before.
Well, we said set-piece vulnerabilities was something to watch out for. And it's Braunschweig who have fallen foul of them first. It's a lovely delivery from Jadon Sancho. It just needed a few touches, and a very composed finish from Mats Hummels. His 30th goal in all competitions for Borussia Dortmund. Not a bad record for a centre-back.
Absolutely not. I mean, usually he uses his head to be a real danger, but he can do it with his left foot. I'm actually quite surprised. I have to text him later on that, yeah, that's something I didn't expect out of him. But how many did he score in the cup? Do you know that? How many cup goals he has now?
This is his 6th in total. 6 in 50.
So, yeah, every 10 there comes a goal, so yeah. Now he's important, and you mentioned the set pieces before. It's been a problem, obviously, but you know, having set pieces is something that can work for Dortmund all the time, since they have players like Mats Hummels and all these other guys that can play it there up in the air or create danger from the point, like Jadon Sancho, for instance, who scored a really nice one. I don't know exactly if it was in the league or in the Champions League, but it was a direct free kick.
It was against Brugge in the Champions League.
So
yeah,
they
channeled his inner David Beckham in that one.
It was a real beauty, and so they can be dangerous from set pieces, but they can be a danger to themselves also.
Yeah, it was funny. It was what all the German reporters at the stadium that night were asking Sancho after he scored it as to whether he felt it was worthy of David Beckham.
What did he say?
He said he felt it was, and then he reflected on the one that Beckham himself scored against Greece back in the day that got England into the World Cup.
Nah, there was a crazy bend on that ball and speed and everything, so it was a real beauty. Yeah, that's a fair comparison there. But he has to prove it more often to really be in the same, you know, in the same draw like David Beckham when it comes to free kicks. But he has still some time, being only 20 years of age.
Well, it seems like it's something he's working on as well.
I mean, why not? He has so much to his game. Why not add free kicks to be one of your expertise? Wouldn't really hurt his career, would it?
No, not at all. He's also been scoring a few penalties, which helps break the stereotypes about English penalty takers here in Germany as well, which is nice. I should say he's been successful with those penalties as well, to really underline the point. But he's another player, Jadon Sancho. He's come under a little bit of fire this season, but then I look at that as the fact that he set the bar so high for himself, Patrick, that it was always likely that there was going to be a little bit of a drop-off in his end product. Doesn't mean he's not an important player for this side, and he can make something happen at any time. He's just found Brandt now with Reina.
I mean, you said it yourself. He set the bar really high, having a fantastic season the season before. And this season, he didn't really find his rhythm yet. Still looking for that. But the team itself was not working as fluent as they did last season. So it wasn't really easy for everybody to find their rhythm. But since he was so important, it's obviously somebody the team looks up to and needs to really make it work for them.
And one goal from a free kick already for Borussia Dortmund. Guerrero to deliver this time. Zagadou, Hummels up from the back once again.
Tigges as well.
Tigges as well. It is his first touch, and it flashes just wide. That would have been a moment if he had scored with his first touch.
That would be fantastic. Here we see why that free kick was given there, a late charge, a little bit. Oh, that was the foul that led up to the free kick, which led to this fantastic goal of Mats Hummels.
It's a poacher's finish. Erling Haaland would be proud of that.
Yeah, he really waited for his defender to slide out of the way instead of just, shooting, just banging it on target. Oh.
Well, that was a chance for Koblianski, but Murray acquitting himself well at the back there, and he had to as well.
Yeah, really necessary challenge there from Murray against Kobylanski. Otherwise, it would have been free and through on target. And that's something that many people said Dortmund is lacking. The fire to, score that second one right away, and maybe that third one right after that, which give you time then to slow it down. But sometimes Dortmund, takes the foot off the gas pedal a little too early, which allows opponent to come back into games that they have probably didn't believe in themselves anymore, but Dortmund made it happen for them. So another thing that Dortmund needs to work on, be hungry for that second and third goal.
Yeah, this side are more than capable of producing a ruthless streak. Brandt, that looked like a nasty one. Ben Bala picking up the first yellow card off the game.
Yeah, Brandt was able to get that ball off and out to Matteo Murray, and then that late charge into the ankle of Julian Brandt, and that one must really hurt, actually.
Well, I tell you, there were groans in the press section here as they showed the replays of that, because it's the exact type of challenge that just turns the ankle out.
Yeah.
And I think, if anything, Ben Bala may be a little lucky to get away with just a yellow card there.
Yeah, I don't think that the referee really saw what was happening there. And I hope it's not going to be a bad one for Julian Brandt.
That would be a shame, because he has been very lively in the opening almost 20 minutes here at the Eintracht Stadion. He's not walking freely, but he's not limping significantly either.
Yeah.
So we'll keep a close eye on it. For now, another free kick opportunity for Dortmund. It's all getting a bit too physical for Benjamin Cortes's liking. The jostling for position on the edge of the area. Braunschweig holding their line right on the edge. Guerrero. Here's Hummels ghosting in round the back once again. Fejic's collection looks to release Abdullahi. Oh, the bounce actually there favouring Matteo Murray. Now Tigges his chance to give chase.
Jude Bellingham is working hard in midfield, but lost this one. To Patrick Kammerbauer. But he couldn't find Abdullahi, and another possession for Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah, that's it. Braunschweig winning it well, but they're not finding a lot of outlet passes right now, which is certainly slowing their roll a little bit.
Of course, it's a question of how confident you play it. When you have the ball, against the ball, it's the most easy thing. You just have to be a little physical and go into those challenges. But when you have the ball, it's when you really have to create and work hard to keep Dortmund off the ball and get chances for yourself.
Brandt making the run beyond the final man. Moray can't quite thread the needle. Bellingham battling away in midfield as he's so good at doing.
Yeah, he throws himself in everything, Jude Bellingham, alongside Jadon Sancho. Now again back on the right side, so constantly switching sides and give another task to Eintracht Braunschweig.
Do you think that's something? Oh, I say that, Brandt. Oh, it should have been. It really should have been.
Wow, that's a wow moment. Really good effort there from Tigges, and then it's Julian Brandt. Absolutely, he had so much time actually. Maybe could have taken his head up and find Giorena on the left side.
I think he's got to go for goal, right? It's at his mercy.
Yeah, but not like that.
Well, true.
I mean, he went for goal, but not like that, Julian Brandt.
It was one of those moments, I'll be honest, as a commentator, the ball went back to the goalkeeper. I looked down at my notes, popped up, and Brandt was shooting at goal with a great opportunity. Braunschweig need to be careful with mistakes like that at the back.
Keeper Jasmin Fejzic was thinking too much, thinking too hard maybe. And that gave Tigges the chance to close their options. Yeah. Too much handwork there from Jude Bellingham, pushing.
Jude Bellingham, who scored in the first round of the DFB-Pokal in his debut for Borussia Dortmund against MSV Duisburg. It's his only Borussia Dortmund goal to date. But it was a nice way for him to introduce himself, becoming the club's youngest goal scorer in the competition, dethroning Giovanni Reina. We thought that was going to change again tonight with Youssoufa Moukoko, but a knee injury ruling out the 16-year-old, and now a chance for Braunschweig. It's into the mix, and it's got a good touch as well. It was Marcel Baer. Just not enough pace to really trouble Marvin Hitz.
Yeah, but a good push over the left side. And it's the first little hello there. Something to think for Borussia Dortmund. They can not be sure, as it stands, with only one goal in the lead, to have done enough. They have to do more and collect more goals to feel safe and secure, but Braunschweig is playing it confident.
In the end, one too many touches, and Bellingham now late on Ben Bala. Ben Bala the first in the book, Bellingham the second.
Yeah, he has to be a little more careful there, even though it wasn't the same quality of foul as the one that Ben Bala did on Julian Brandt. There was back-to-back fouls now leading up to this yellow card for Jude Bellingham. But these moments can help Braunschweig shift the momentum a little bit more towards their side, creating chances of that kind of quality. And again, over the left side, Lasse Schlüter.
Yeah, Abdullahi winning out against Mats Hummels there. Abdullahi, the man on loan from Union Berlin. Oh, that's well played from Braunschweig, but the flag up.
Yeah, you can actually feel that these last kind of minutes really work out for Braunschweig. Here, see again that cross from Lasse Schlüter, and then it's Marcel Baer who can't get enough purpose on that ball to really make it a threat for Marvin Hitz. But these are the moments helping Braunschweig coming back into this game.
Nice turn from Tigges in midfield there. Good hold-up play from the 22-year-old.
Yeah, I think that's something the team Borussia Dortmund should look for, to get him more involved and let him be more of a threat in that centric position there on the pitch. Because so far all they tried was over the wings. And from regular play, it wasn't really that easy for Borussia Dortmund so far to create big chances.
Brilliant play from Gio Reyna out wide. Working it well in tight spaces, but couldn't quite find the release. Had to go backwards instead.
Yeah, they have to switch sides a little quicker to make Braunschweig work hard.
Bellingham penalised for a handball, I think, as he put his arm to ground. Just stopping Dortmund in their tracks. There you go.
Yeah, scratched it a little with his fingernail.
Yes, yes, no shout for Jadon Sancho's pressing ability there from the sidelines. But they have won it in a dangerous position here. Dortmund, Reyna, closed down by 3. Sancho back to Reyna. Went for goal, tight angle.
Yeah, tight spaces, tight angle. You're absolutely right. It was more coincidental than really well played, even though the last pass from Jadon Sancho was a good one. Gio Reyna going deep, but then, yeah, it was off target. But still, Braunschweig is really forcing them to rush it. It's not easy for Borussia Dortmund to develop their game, their style of play.
Hans-Joachim Watzke there, club chairman.
And from the looks of him, you can tell that he thinks that only a goal, the lead with only a goal, is not enough yet to have a good evening and go on to the next round of the DFB-Pokal.
Well, this is it. Dortmund started defensively so well this season. They were really setting themselves apart in that respect. 8 clean sheets in their first 11 games, but just 1 clean sheet since then, and no clean sheets at all in December.
Yep. But the other numbers are it's 4 losses out of 11 games, and that wasn't the plan. That's why Lucien Favre isn't the coach anymore.
Yeah, Michael Zorc, the sporting director, saying it was a hard decision, but they felt that season targets were at risk due to the negative developments.
Yeah, and even though they advanced into the knockout stages of the Champions League and they're still in the cup and everything, but Bundesliga, the daily business, the most important thing is where they were, losing track a little.
Murray. Tigges is tall, but not quite that tall.
Not that tall.
He needs a tail like Tigger, actually, from Winnie the Pooh there to get up to that one.
A little too fast, a little too hard, that try from Matteo Murray. But the development up to that was really good, playing it over the wing, some tempo.
Sebastian Kehl there, the head of the licensed players department, I believe is his official title. He was still on the Borussia Dortmund books last time that they met Eintracht Braunschweig. That was in the 2013-14 Bundesliga season. Braunschweig earning promotion. It was their first appearance in the top tier of German football since 1985. It only lasted 1 season. They lost both games against Borussia Dortmund 2-1. Hoffmann and Royce on the score sheet in the first game, and it was an Aubameyang double that won it in the second.
Yeah, and Sebastian Kehl was also with the team when they got kicked out of the cup in 2005, probably.
Very true. He'll remember the floodlights.
He does, yeah.
I wonder whether that's why they didn't turn them on at all tonight. Just in case. They didn't want to run the risk again. Brandt and Sancho combining. Oh, the channels were there to be worked, but Brandt couldn't work them in the end. Murray switching flanks, lovely ball out. Ambitious first-time delivery, but it's worked out. And it's a penalty shout from Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah, but there's no VAR, so we won't get it if it hasn't been called yet.
He did well to keep the chance alive there, Jude Bellingham. Let's take another look at this.
Yeah, that's what we can do. Let's say so much. There was contact. I don't know if it was a penalty, equality of worthy of a penalty.
I think it's one of, we've seen them given, but I'm glad it didn't get given, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it wasn't really enough, from that angle at least.
It would have been a softer variety of a penalty.
But I've seen things, you know, I mean, sometimes you wonder.
I'm sure you've seen many things over your career, Patrick, when it comes to penalties.
Absolutely.
A few upsets as well in the Cuppers during your career, I'm sure.
Right. I mean, we went with Borussia Dortmund. We got knocked out in, I think it was the second round in Osnabrück. Yeah, we lost there. I lost with Werder Bremen in Pirmasens, which was a third-tier club back at the time. So, yeah, I had my fair share of upsets and cup losses. But, of course, I've seen the other end as well.
You've seen the end that not many people get to experience, to be honest. More people experience the upsets than the title win. Here comes Braunschweig. Koblianski invited to shoot and fancied his chances. And it looked like the gap was there, and all of a sudden Bellingham and Delaney just closed that door.
Yeah, it was good they did, because Koblianski knows where the goal is, especially in the cup.
Space for Sancho to move into. Looking for Tigges, and right idea. Credit to Dominic Vidra for cutting that one out. But Braunschweig not too quick to move bodies forward.
Yep.
It's all got a bit static for the home side.
Yeah, I think they don't want to risk too much. I mean, just a goal behind, it's a fair result, and going into halftime with that, even though it's 13 minutes left to play until halftime, would be fantastic actually, I think, from a Braunschweig point of view, but I wish they would believe a little more in themselves, just to make it more interesting.
And Braunschweig currently just keeping their heads above water in the second tier of German football. Currently in 15th place, just 1 point above Sandhausen in the relegation playoff spot. And as mentioned, they have the worst defensive record in the league, but all 3 wins this season, 4 if you include the victory over Hertha, have come on home soil for Eintracht Braunschweig here at the Eintracht Stadion. The stadium that once hosted the DFB-Pokal final back in 1955. Karlsruhe beating Schalke 3-2 on that particular occasion.
And I remember being once a ball boy in this stadium, actually.
I have to say, there's something that didn't come up in my research, Patrick.
No, how could it?
I'll note that one down for next time we work together.
Do that. As we see there, a little foul on Jadon Sancho, neat footwork. And then Danilo Wiebe was fed up with all the trickery, even though we see another little bit of trickery there from Martin Kobylanski.
Yeah, it's not just Jadon Sancho that can pack out the tricks on the pitch tonight. Guerrero with the free kick. Bellingham. Beautiful from Bellingham! And I don't know whether Fazit's got a touch, but it definitely rattled the woodwork. They felt there was a handball in it.
Yeah, we'll have another look on it. There was a lot of stomach involved as well, and then the post saves Braunschweig from that second goal. Good move there by Jude Bellingham. You mentioned he scored in his first cup game for Borussia Dortmund.
You've got to think that Edin Terzic will be pleased with what he's seen from his side so far. The 1 point is the point that Patrick's been making about the second goal to really put this a little further out of reach for Daniel Meyer and Eintracht Braunschweig, but plenty of instructions coming from Meyer and some interesting signals. Not sure exactly what they meant, but ultimately I don't need to. It's the Eintracht Braunschweig players that need to be able to discern the instructions. Kobylanski getting a bit more involved in the last 10 minutes and that's needed for Braunschweig.
Important push there forward from Jude Bellingham. Denied Kubilanski to switch sides, otherwise Marcel Schlüter would have been through again already. And again, high pressure from Dortmund, trying to win that ball early.
But confident play from Braunschweig to try and play their way out from the back against Dortmund, which you wouldn't necessarily expect of an underdog.
Yeah, but sometimes that's exactly what works then, because the opponent doesn't expect it as well.
I think for Braunschweig, something we haven't seen enough from them so far is balls in behind this Dortmund defense for someone like Abdullahi to run onto. Guerrero thought about the shot, opted to try and find Brandt instead, just a touch ahead of him.
Decision again to play it rather fancy than forceful. Sometimes the other way around would suit better. Dortmund at least seems to be in control. A couple of moments there for Braunschweig over the wings where they could create a little bit of a question mark for Dortmund. Other than that, pace, position, everything is in control of Borussia Dortmund so far.
Well, Brandt, after misplacing the pass, wins it back. Reina out wide. 4 to aim for in the middle if he wants to cross, but well closed down there by Schlüter. He's having a good game on this left side for Braunschweig in both an attacking and a defensive sense so far. Now with Zagadou.
Again, well read from Lasse Schlüter, and gets the foul off Gio Reyna. A little time to breathe.
Yeah, Schlüter, who's been in the starting lineup in now 7 of the last 9 games for Braunschweig. Signed from Energie Cottbus back in 2019. One of those classic players that never quite made it at the highest level. He was on the youth books with Hamburg. But a valuable asset for a team in the Zweite Bundesliga.
There's a lot of complaining on the Eintracht Braunschweig side. They shouldn't complain that much, but just keep on pushing, keep on working hard.
Rafael Guerrero, the birthday boy, turned 27 today. Enjoyed his most prolific season in the previous campaign with 8 goals in all competitions. In his last 5 Bundesliga appearances, at least, he's had a hand in 6 goals.
As somebody who's really important for the team as well, but has ups and downs, mostly going forward. Everything is fine with Rafael Guerrero, but he plays left back, he plays full back, so he needs to defend from time to time.
Yeah, he's admitted that left wing back suits him a little bit more because he has a little more protection behind him. One extra man to provide the accountability.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, that other position in that different tactical lineup when they play a 3-back, you know, and with wingers out wide, that's what I see him. It's my preferred role for him. The 4-back line, it's more defensive work, and it's a further way going forward as well. So 2 things that, doesn't really suit him as well.
An incredible array of emotions there on the Dortmund bench. There were smiles, there were concerned faces, there were serious looks. But the fact that there are a few smiles is a good sign.
I mean, so far so good. Everything is going as planned. They're in the lead. It's not really in danger so far. But everything can change with just one action by Eintracht Braunschweig.
Hummels winning a couple of headers at the back.
Well done from Matteo Morey.
Very composed play from the young Spaniard. Now Bellingham looking for the early ball towards Sancho. It comes to Brandt. He was again trying to thread the needle.
Could have been a deadly ball and if it would have went through to Jude Bellingham.
Kobylanski doing well to draw the foul there against Morey. Eintracht Braunschweig were in a nothing-to-lose position coming into the game at 1-0 down, I think, more so. But still not taking too many unnecessary risks.
Yeah, and they shouldn't. I mean, still a long time left to play. And everything is within reach. Only a goal separates those two teams. And to be fair, you have to expect to have to score more than one against Borussia Dortmund to advance to the next round.
Fabio Kaufmann getting his heels clipped. He was the player with the most goal involvements in the Dritte Liga last season before signing for Braunschweig. Had a hand in 31 goals, 15 goals scored, 16 assists. Big win for Braunschweig to get his signature. Free kick, they tried to catch Dortmund out, but Kobylanski, when you've got to do that, you've got to make the delivery on point.
Yeah, it has to be on point, otherwise it goes in the other direction. And depending on how fast Dortmund will play this. But it's a rather calm approach from Borussia Dortmund.
Here is the goal scorer, Mats Hummels, looking for one of those specialist outside of the boot passes.
Which he does like not many others.
Yeah, when he pulls it off, they're magical sometimes.
Can you hear me now?
Zagadou finding Bellingham, back to Hummels. Well, Morey, he took his eye off the ball there. Schluter was quickly in, and Morey, the latest to be booked.
Cleverly done there from Lasse Schluter. Again, a little faster to the ball than Matteo Morey. He's now booked as well.
It's a good cup fight. So far between these two sides, it has been intense.
Not unfair, though.
No, admittedly. But chances have been few and far between, which will please Braunschweig more than Dortmund.
So maybe Braunschweig with one last push before half-time to level this one. Would be really a surprise, but
what do you think the message will be from Daniel Meyer at half-time at 1-0 down? Because his side aren't out of this yet.
I mean, defensively, they haven't done too much wrong yet. I mean, it was a set piece that led to the goal. Other than that, they have to be a little more confident going forward. As we see Abdullahi doing right there. A little bit more than like this moment right now. And there is something possible there for Braunschweig, because they're still just one goal down.
And they come forward again here. Space for Kobylanski, but his first touch letting him down, taking him backwards. My taxi driver from before the game, Peter, will be thinking exactly what I told you, James. You mentioned the fact that Braunschweig really struggle with the basics at times. Schluter. Good play from Schluter. Goes down right on the edge of the area, waved away by Benjamin Cortes. It wasn't enough for a penalty because I don't think it was inside the box, but I think you can make a strong argument that Braunschweig deserved a free kick there. Lovely play by Schluter to goes past 2 challenges, but the third was one too far. And as a result, the final foray from Braunschweig in the first half fails to level the scores. It's Borussia Dortmund and Mats Hummels, the goal scorer. His goal, the difference at half-time, marking a milestone moment, his 50th DFB-Pokal appearance. And it is his side that has Dortmund in front at the break, but plenty to play for. Braunschweig not out of this yet, at just a goal down. Join us again for the second half from the Eintracht Stadion. Score at half-time is Braunschweig 0, Dortmund 1. I don't think they'll be particularly pleased with the manner of the performance so far. High expectations for this club. And it is Dortmund who get us underway in the second half as they look to, at the very least, defend or extend this 1-goal lead. James Surrogate, your match commentator, joining me on the mic. Former Borussia Dortmund player and DFB Pokal winner in 2012, Patrick Over-Moyela. Patrick, if we describe Dortmund's first half performance as solid but not spectacular, is that fair?
Yeah, that's exactly the words I used at halftime. It was a solid performance, but nothing more than that. And on the other side, there's nothing lost yet for Eintracht Braunschweig. They're still within reach of this one, of an upset for Borussia Dortmund. And yeah, who knows? Second half, at least 45 minutes of football. And it's still a lot of tension down there.
Of course, fans not able to attend due to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic doesn't mean that the few people in attendance, club officials and whatnot, aren't making themselves heard. Such a big game for Eintracht Braunschweig, being able to welcome yet another Bundesliga side to the Eintracht Stadion in the DFB Pokal. They knocked out Hertha Berlin 5-4 in the first round.
And I tell you what, if there would be people in this stadium, if there would be audience, this would be a totally different game, because this little stadium, this little box, let's say, it can get really loud here. I know for a fact from own experience.
Yes, even with the running track, it doesn't take away from it.
Yeah, there is a lot of noise when the fans are really going crazy here, and I'm pretty sure they would push their team forward right now. Pretty good.
Oh, that's a nice ball to find Bellingham. Well, he scored in the DFB Pokal first round. It is his only goal for Borussia Dortmund. If he had made it 2-2, that would have been quite impressive.
And the delivery came from his good friend on the team, and countryman as well, Jadon Sancho.
But that's what we want to see more in this second half from Dortmund, Ovo, isn't it? A bit more threat from open play. We had the goal from the set piece. Yeah,
that's what they were lacking of developing. Real danger, real threats from out of play and not just set pieces. They are capable of doing so. Julian Brandt had a couple of passes that weren't really, really there, the precision-wise. Other than that, it could have been a different result already, but that's what they have to improve on. Before the game, Coach Daniel Meyer of Braunschweig said, of course, the quality of playing and passing and the speed of the balls is much higher at Borussia Dortmund, and we haven't really seen that too often yet. Again, Julian Brandt misses an opportunity there.
Yeah, for Brandt, tonight has been a case of promising up until the final product. He had a glorious opportunity to put Dortmund 2-0 ahead. Goal at his mercy, but a chance now for Braunschweig. Abdullahi couldn't pick out Koblianski. He was the only player for him to aim for in the box. Brandt almost playing himself into a little bit of trouble at the back.
Yeah, everybody back there right now doesn't look too focused. That's not the way Edin Terzic wants his team to start the second half. You're bringing Braunschweig right back, giving him some life and some hope.
Fabio Kaufmann scrapping away. He was the player that before this game felt that Braunschweig's fight is enough to take points off of any team at home. He called them an ugly team and said they needed to make this game ugly.
And they haven't really done it. This is, to me, a wrong call. one of the first wrong calls actually from Benjamin Cortus, the referee.
We had a situation right on the stroke of half-time. Lasse Schluter brought down on the edge of the area. Not given as a free kick. It was right to be not given as a penalty because the contact was outside. But Braunschweig were rightly a bit aggrieved not to be given the decision on that occasion. This time, it goes their way. Koblianski with a chance to deliver. Hitz has his eyes on it and plucks it out of the air.
A little too close to the keeper. And then easy bait for an experienced former Swiss international. Say. But Dortmund cannot relax. It's not. Asking the right questions for Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Patrick. Fabio Kaufmann is basically playing as a right wing-back as opposed to a right winger, as we saw him in the first half. Here he is closing down Guerrero. Ball goes past him to Brandt. Ben Bala across to cover. Brandt does well to dig out the cross, but again, it's long and over the head of everyone in the box. Murray. Oh, it was the right idea. Guerrero deflected behind for a corner. Well, this second half is certainly taking on a very different complexion.
Yeah, there's a good pace. I think it was a little coincidence that this ball landed with Rafa Guerrero instead of Jadon Sancho. But again, that good and decent pass and that good work from Marcel Baer, who just not as precise enough there. Otherwise, this could have been the leveling goal for Braunschweig. But these are the moments that Braunschweig can live off.
Tigges got his head to the ball, not a clean connection. He's got a leap on him though, doesn't he? He's up there.
Yeah, he is tall. He is tall built, above 190, and then he can jump in the air and has some hang time too. Good timing there, Steffen Tigges. That's a different kind of presence Dortmund has up front now. And I said it before, they should use it more.
Well, just to apologise briefly, you may have lost us on sound momentarily, but we're glad to have you back for a game that is starting to heat up here in the second half, certainly taking on a bit of a different complexion. More open, more purpose, and both sides carving out more chances, and better chances as well, I think is more important here.
Yeah, and one that's heated up quite well is probably Marco Reus, because we've seen him getting ready to be subbed in a couple of minutes probably. So the captain will be on board to help secure this win for his team. But for that, Dortmund has to push a little more further forward. The goal is just not enough today. That's my opinion.
Dortmund facing the challenge that they so often face, teams sitting deep. And I think the consensus is when Dortmund inject pace, that's when they're at the most dangerous. They just struggle to do so against these deep-lying sides. As I say, that's Sancho, Bellingham, now Reina, trying to do just that. Bellingham, Reina. A block cross from Fabio Kaufmann, drawing applause from those in attendance.
You can say that first half for Eintracht Braunschweig was basically about surviving and not coming under the rails. But this second half, it's about living for them. They're actually trying to add to their existence and create for a great cup game.
I'll to remind you again, it was on this ground in 2005. Dortmund led 1-0 against Eintracht Braunschweig, but got knocked out of the cup in the end. famous game where the floodlights went out for 15 minutes. It wasn't the floodlights that went out, but our technical jargon here. But Marco Reus is now stripped off and ready to come on for Borussia Dortmund. And when we were talking about coming up against deep-lying sides, Marco Reus is the type of player that you're happy to bring on because his work in tight spaces is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm exactly right. I mean, he's not the guy who will run up and down the pitch in full pace anymore. That's just not the Marco Reus today. But in tight rooms, making the right decisions for himself and his team, that's exactly what he can still bring to his team. And there's just something, I mean, having the captain on board is just something that gives the team a little bit more stability, usually.
Guerrero, Bellingham making a good run beyond the final man. The question now is, who will Marco Reus be replacing? We're past the hour mark here at the Eintracht Stadion.
Yeah, it's a couple of options. Of course, Gio Reyna, Julian Brandt, the usual suspects. Jadon Sancho is, as we talked about, always somebody you want to have on the pitch because he can just create something out of nowhere. We'll see. I don't think he will take some other position out to make it a more offensive approach. I don't think that's what he want to do. And now we know it's Julian Brandt coming off the pitch.
Is this another game where you look at Julian Brandt and it just feels like there was more on offer for him?
I mean, there was. I mean, he had a couple of nice tries on target. He had two of the biggest chances of this game, actually, to his name. And a couple of moments where he was just about to create a big chance, maybe a scoring chance for his teammates, but couldn't really find the way through. So his ideas are always there, and you always see what he's trying to do. But sometimes, maybe it's a little luck missing. He always seems to be exactly on the edge to being, I don't know, superb, and then it's just that little bit missing.
I think that's a very fair assessment, to be honest. I think everyone who's been following German football for the last couple of years knows how talented Julian Brandt is, knows exactly how dangerous he can be and just how silky some of his touches are, but things not quite clicking for him. Ortigas with the header! Oh, he just ghosted in between the two centre-backs. He didn't even have to jump for it, but plants the effort wide.
Yeah, these are the moments you have to use if you want to get your name in the history books. I mean, you don't get too many of these kind of chances that open. He doesn't even have to jump, you said it. And he can do better with his head, that's for sure. But I think it's a good first hello from Stefan Tigges in the first team of Borussia Dortmund.
Akanji, he went for a cheeky back heel in
very risky there.
The most dangerous of positions, I was going to say. Dear me.
Yeah, you know, you shouldn't do that because this is a moment where you can, you know, offer your opponent just a big chance to level this game. It would be a real bummer if it would, you know, if something like that would lead to a draw. Again, neat feet. Marco Reus and Jadon Sancho.
Plenty of bodies in the box to aim for, but blocked behind for a corner.
Yeah, again, there's that heel kick by Akanji, and Abdullahi couldn't really convert this into his moment.
Yeah, those are the moments where you realise Manuel Akanji, when he was growing up, was training to be a striker and not a defender.
Yeah.
It was at the age of 16, I believe, where he started learning to become a centre-back. Ooh, that wasn't a bad effort in the end. Rafael Guerrero took some technical ability.
Yeah, Jadon Sancho's trying to give him his present, his birthday present, delivering that ball. And of course, there's so much quality in that left foot of Rafa Guerrero that he's able to knock this one in.
Reyna does well under pressure to turn into space. Delivery comes in, and it just needed a touch. Tigges closest to it.
And that's what I said. He is there. Tigges is always you know, close to these kind of balls and crosses. That's where number 9 and a real striker has to be. And he's not far off and able to score in this one.
And that was one of the criticisms that Dortmund faced when Erling Haaland did get injured, is that they lacked that presence up front.
Yeah.
Youssoufa Moukoko came in and he was making runs beyond the last man. He was doing a lot of good work, made the positive impact, but Tigges certainly brings a different presence to Youssoufa Moukoko.
Yeah, and he brings that, you know, that height to Dortmund's game. Certainly they're able to really play crosses for headers and not just for, you know, one-touch goals. That's a different kind of, there are different kind of options then when you have such a player up front. So a third of this game is played now. Still it's just 1-0, just one goal to the lead of Borussia Dortmund. And we had a couple of moments where Braunschweig came close to leveling it.
Royce and Sancho linking up. Royce to deliver now. Tigges again closest to it. Glancing header that time from the 22-year-old.
Again, just scratched it with his forehead. Couldn't get the real power into the ball.
Braunschweig not pressing too high up the pitch. Comfortable letting Dortmund come into their own half, and that's when they really try and shut down the shot. It's fair to say that in open play, Dortmund are having a bit more joy with their passing in the final third than they were in the first half. Reina looking to make something happen. Pass to Giorena. Well, he scored 5 goals in his Dortmund career. 3 have come in the DFB-Pokal.
Yeah, and a couple one looked quite similar to this one quite recently as well in the Bundesliga. And he gets in from the left side, gets in towards the box area and then unleashes.
He gave a great interview with Bundesliga.com recently, Giovanni Reina, where he talked about the fact that he doesn't just want to be one of the best, he wants to be the best in the world at some point in his career. It's that winning mentality that he brings to the table, much like Joshua Kimmich does for Bayern München as well, I think it's fair to say.
That's an interesting call again from Benjamin Cortus. Actually, Tigges was just jumping, no stretched legs, nothing. He gets penalized with a penalty, with a free kick.
I've got to ask as well, Patrick, 68 minutes into this game, if it stays at 1-0, have Dortmund sent the right message with this performance today?
No, but they achieved what they wanted. They advanced into the next round then, and of course that's what they came for. You shouldn't expect too much from this team, which is still, you know, still in the mix of things, still trying to turn things around, try to find their new phase and their new style and everything, and you can expect it to you know, to blow Eintracht Braunschweig out of their own stadium. That would be unfair. I mean, it's fair to say that they absolutely in control of this game, even though Eintracht Braunschweig had a couple of chances, but so did Borussia Dortmund. They could have easily advanced their lead too. So it's fair to say that they're doing a solid job, but that's what was expected, but nothing more yet. Jane Sancho dances with Lasse Schlüter there a little.
Bellingham trying to win the header. Doesn't get to it. And right now, an extended spell of pressure here for Borussia Dortmund. Patrick's been saying all night that he feels they need a second goal, so they need to capitalize on these phases of play. Right idea from Matteo Morey. Jasmin Fezic, the Braunschweig keeper who lost his #1 spot at the start of this season but has reclaimed it since. He said he's still got a lot in the tank. He said he wasn't ready to sit on the sidelines just yet. But for one heart-in-mouth moment tonight, he's done all right. Oh, Royce making the run off the shoulder of the last man. It's Terrain and now Sancho. Again, the cross blocked. I have to say, Lasse Schluter is putting in a man-of-the-match performance for Eintracht Braunschweig at left-back tonight.
Yeah, very active over his left side, going both ways, defending and attacking forward. And now there's somebody sitting down. Might be an injury there. For I think it's Marcel Bear. I'm not quite sure, actually.
Well, it's a chilly night here in Braunschweig. I'm not going to lie, I do have 2 pairs of socks on, but it's not that cold. But muscular injuries, and it's Weber,
yeah, it's about
the man who stayed down.
Oh yeah, Weber. Weber. Actually, it's 10 degrees. It's the kind of weather I really love to play in. Not too warm, not too cold. Yeah, and it's going to be Weber who's subbed out.
2 changes being made here. Nick Proschwitz, one of them, the man that we were expecting to see feature in the starting lineup today. Oh, no, excuse me, I've got that wrong. It's Robin Ziegler and Jari Otto are the 2 coming on.
I was confused a little bit.
One goal from a set piece already tonight for Dortmund. Zagadou trying to flick it on at the near post. Well, Marco Reus fancied his chances, and why not? Too many bodies in the way, though.
Yeah, whenever there's a chance for Marco Reus, I would say take it. He has such a lethal right foot.
To Jadon Sancho. No goals in the Bundesliga this season for the Englishman. 2 in the Champions League, 1 in the DFB-Pokal. Sancho actually scored in the 5-0 win over Duisburg. That was his 100th appearance in all competitions for Borussia Dortmund. So like Mats Hummels, he marked a milestone moment in the first round. Tonight it was Mats Hummels making his 50th appearance, whose goal right now is the difference between these 2 sides as we near the closing quarter of an hour here at the Eintracht Stadion. Braunschweig at 1-0 haven't given up hope, but the quality of their build-up play needs to improve. Meanwhile, Dortmund getting Axel Witsel ready to come on. Defensive reinforcement, someone just to help shore up the midfield for the closing stages.
Yeah, it's about controlling the pace in midfield. He's somebody who really doesn't lose a lot of balls in midfield, so you can always play him the ball and be sure that he will do something with it. And for the last 16 minutes now, of course, you want to be in absolute control. Pretty sure it's going to be almost a position substitution.
Yeah, Bellingham on a yellow. It's been through the walls a little bit tonight as well. Been on the receiving end and on the giving end of a few challenges.
Almost stolen there from Jari Otto against Jadon Sancho. This is, of course, what Eintracht Braunschweig is looking for. A stolen ball, a mistake by the defense of Borussia Dortmund, and then the chance for them.
There we see Axel Witsel coming on for Jude Bellingham indeed. Another performance from Jude Bellingham that really belies his age. It wasn't the performance of a 17-year-old, but of someone with a lot more experience. Couldn't follow up his goal in the first round with another in the second, though he hit the post and did have a good chance in the second half. He is replaced by Witzel for the final quarter of an hour. But Bellingham certainly making a case for one of the signings of the summer in German football. Reina closed down well. Kammerbauer caught in midfield.
I think it was cleverly done by Kammerbauer. That's interesting.
There we go, the stadium announcer announcing an attendance of 22,200. And you may be wondering, how has he got to that number? Well, it's a number from 2005 when these two sides met last time in the DFB-Pokal in this stadium. And technically, the same scoreline could still be possible tonight. It's going to take something special from Braunschweig, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, Braunschweig came close. I mean, there was a nice try, a nice pass there. Kanji had to really stretch to deny this one. Otherwise, there would have been two Braunschweig players in front of Marvin Hitz. This one is far from over. I mean, we have 13 minutes plus additional time. And who knows?
Well, at some point, I'm waiting for it to happen, Patrick, but at some point you feel Braunschweig are really going to throw caution to the wind and say, you know what, we're 1-0 down, we really have nothing to lose. Let's power forward and see if we can grab an equaliser maybe in the final 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly, maybe final 5, maybe final 3 plus additional time. And then, you know, of course, send a couple of men forward.
There's a ball on here. They went to Otto instead of Abdullahi. Otto goes down clutching his back, wanting the foul.
Yeah, that was...
Play goes on from Dortmund, but Otto has stayed down.
It still is. I don't know what Braunschweig is waiting for, actually. Time is running against them.
I think he was doing everything to win the foul, not necessarily to be fouled.
But it looked strange to me, because Moret was already not behind him anymore.
Sancho, early ball in. Tigges was on the stretch.
I don't know why, but I like how Tigges is playing this one. He's always close to these kind of passes, these kind of crosses. Good job from Stefan Tigges so far.
Well, half the job is being in the right place at the right time, isn't it, for a striker? And he's certainly picked up some very promising positions, and on another night, he may have got a goal to his name.
Yeah, and I'm quite sure these are the kind of games that allow Edin Terzic to give him the opportunity and come back and show what he can do.
Witzel going to line one up. Got his foot under that one. Just one goal to his name this season, coming against his former club Zenit in the Champions League.
Another substitution.
And now Nick Proschwitz is coming on. I actually can celebrate the fact that Nick Proschwitz is entering the fray. Not only that, Felix Kors also coming on for Eintracht Braunschweig. Fun fact about Felix Kors is the only Braunschweig player to have ever beaten Dortmund in a competitive match. In 2014-15, he was on the winning side as Werder Bremen picked up a 2-1 win. And he also beat Dortmund last season with Union Berlin, a 3-1 victory as well.
Yeah.
Nick Proschwitz, meanwhile, brings with him a wealth of experience. Fun fact about Nick Proschwitz, he has played in no less than 19 different leagues and cup competitions during his career. He is definitely the definition of a wandering footballer.
Yeah, he's been all over the place. Belgium, Germany, England, you name it.
Now Braunschweig are starting to leave a little more space for Dortmund to exploit. Sancho And Royce, in the end, a little too intricate from the two. It's interesting, both sets of players have taken issue with the fact that there have been a few, what I'll call cheap fouls, given by the referee today, Benjamin Cortes. But the fact is, both have been complaining, so in the end, you probably think it's been fair.
It's been fair. But I would have liked it to be the other way around and not just, you know, no cheap calls, no complaining.
Yeah, it has disrupted the rhythm at times in this game. And rhythm is ultimately what Dortmund need to do their best work. Today, this is a case of a more conservative encounter from them.
Yeah, but Braunschweig is already feeling the urgency a little bit. 9 minutes left to play, but they're pushing much more forward. To me, that was a foul, actually, as Patrick Kammerbauer pulled Borreo down like a wrestler there.
Over the head of Proschwitz. But Braunschweig are certainly...
Yeah, somehow Dortmund is totally out of position at the moment. Not able to get into those challenges.
Kaufmann to cross. Man over at the back post as well. He just misjudged the flight of the ball there, Jari Otto. Got under it a little too much. And maybe we see Edin Terzic here reacting to this more positive spell from the home side. Thomas Meunier and Torgan Hazard, the players coming on. Gio Reyna and Matteo Morey exiting the fray. Giovanni Reyna named the US Young Player of the Year in 2020. And rightly so, he's been a revelation. Today, not a vintage performance from him. But then I think we can say that about the entire Dortmund team today.
Yeah, as well, he as well, with a solid performance. No big actions there, nothing extra and out of the ordinary.
But will that play on the minds of the players, Patrick, at all? Will they worry about the fact that this was solid and not spectacular during Christmas, or they go, you know what, we got a 1-0 win, that's what matters?
Absolutely not. And of course the media will pick it up and say, yeah, but you know, it wasn't a great performance. No, it wasn't, and they know, but it wasn't a bad one either, and they got the next round, and that's absolutely the only thing that counts in the end.
Yeah, into the knockout stages of the Champions League. Ready to book their place in the round of 16 in the DFB-Pokal. The sore point, though, for Borussia Dortmund is they are 8 points behind Bayern in the Bundesliga standings, outside the top 4 at Christmas. Tigges has won it well, though. Little cheeky back heel to release Royce. And in the end there, Braunschweig doing just enough to put off Marco Reus at the crucial moment.
But I'm more and more of a fan. Look how clever Tigges switches sides, goes on the inside and wins that ball against Vydra, and then gets Marco Reus involved. So everything that's missing is a goal for Stefan Tigges to make this a really great cup night and a debut for the first team of Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah, we're at the very good level, aren't we? But he could go great, Tigges, tonight.
Maybe now.
Tigges, a mistake at the back. Stefan Tigges for his first Dortmund goal, and it's palm clear by Fesic.
Oh, maybe I jinxed it by calling it out too early, but yeah, that was a great chance. Not the best of tries. He had a little bit more time, and there was Marco Reus besides him. Only one defender in Dominic Vydra. So maybe a little bit more, you know. But still, I think he made a great game so far. With 5 minutes left to play, I still wish him that he maybe knocks one in. Maybe now. It's another set piece.
Sancho with 1 assist already tonight. Zagadou with the header.
It's behind, but couldn't really place it. He has to run all the way back. Braunschweig now pushes 4 men wide forward, so this is the last 5 minutes we talked about. This is their last stretch, their last try.
They've won a foul. Thomas Meunier, his first involvement in the game. So we see here one final change. Manuel Schwenk is going to be coming on to replace Fabio Kaufmann. And the long list of instructions it looks like there from head coach Daniel Meyer.
That's a full-grown sheet, a full sheet of paper. I don't know, but now it seems like Dominic Bühler memorized everything. that's quite interesting. It's probably about set pieces, so something they have seen before, and only to notice a couple of things. Ooh.
Not convincing defending from the set piece from Borussia Dortmund. Oh, Zagadou completely misjudged that one. Oh, and it's come through here. Proschwitz on the edge of the area. Well, they didn't get the call in the first half. Lasse Schluter fouled. This time Proschwitz does get it.
Yeah. Since there's no VAR, there is contact, and he plays through the legs of Manuel Kanji and then gets clipped somehow. But I think the man who got into the header before came out of offside, actually, when that ball was crossed over there by Felix Groß. So no VAR. We will never find out, actually. And this is a quite decent position for Felix Groß. His brother can do it.
I was just going to make that point. I always felt it was unfair to make. But yes, Tony would be loving this position.
How much Tony is in Felix? That's the question right now.
Felix Groß takes, and he tried to beat hits at his near post, and right idea, wrong execution.
Yeah, but the confidence is almost as level with his brother, that's for sure. Tries to go into the goalkeeper's corner and surprise Marvin Hitz. 2.5 minutes plus added time.
Yeah, they often talk about the cup making its own rules here.
Yeah, and these are kind of stories that the cup writes, given this late free kick from a good position and then leveling, going into extra time, and so on and so on. But so far, Dortmund managed to deny extra time.
Yannis Nicolaou, latest in the book.
There's a lot of elbow on that head.
He did well to get that high above Tigges, to be honest, I have to say. Nicolaou. Another of the players that was signed in the summer. He was someone that Daniel Meyer desperately wanted on the books. Signed from Dynamo Dresden. Guerrero clipping it forward. Cleared by Vidra. Tigges, again, good play from Tigges. Cross against Witzel. Delaney turns well to find Royce. And I think the biggest compliment we can give Stefan Tigges tonight is that he hasn't looked out of place in this Dortmund team.
Absolutely not. He's so in this game, and so, yeah, he really played it well. I think his team should have, looked for him earlier. In the first half, he was a little bit, in the air, so to say. But second half, he was much more involved, and everything he touched was really decent.
I just wonder whether Edin Terzic may have had a word with him as well, in saying, assert yourself a bit more, demand the ball. And I think we've seen him try and get involved a bit more than we did in the first half, where I think he very much, maybe a few debut nerves in there, but was feeling out the process.
But first half also, he offered a couple of deep runs, a couple of moments and good runs. There were always options for his teammates. He was always an option, so really a really good debut for Stefan Tigges. And now we are almost done with regular playing time, and we get 4 minutes.
I was just wondering how long they'd add on, because there haven't been that many stoppages.
Yeah.
4 seems a little bit generous, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I would have said 3, but now it's 4, and we'll see
Well,
who
4
comes
minutes,
up.
4 minutes of cup tension.
Yeah.
Asking the question, can Braunschweig maybe snatch something here? Or will they overcommit and allow Dortmund to grab a second late on? Good ball through to Proschwitz. Appeals for offside. Flag stays down. Kroos. He's only got one to aim for in the middle. He was trying to wait for the run of Proschwitz. That allowed Delaney to close down the angle. This is the chance, though, for Braunschweig. They've got so many bodies forward.
When I'm not mistaken, and I hope I am actually, I think Torgan Hazard re-injured himself because he's feeling his thigh, and he actually finished defending in that one moment, and it doesn't really look good. He's not going forward really, he's just walking around. That would be a bummer for the next maybe 3 minutes and so, to have basically a man less on the pitch.
He's been struggling. You're right, actually. He is limping. Yeah, we just saw him signal to Jadon Sancho that he's struggling on something. And muscular injuries have been a problem for the Belgian already this season. He can't run. Patrick's right. Dortmund are basically playing with a man less on the pitch because Torgan Hazard can only walk or move at jogging pace. The chance was on there for Braunschweig, but once again the final pass lets them down. Hazard leaves it to Reus. Jadon Sancho is through on goal. One-on-one with Fajic round the keeper, and that's the second goal that Dortmund needed to wrap this one up and put it beyond doubt. Braunschweig committed men forward. Dortmund ruthless in putting it away, and Jadon Sancho makes it 2 goals in 2 games in the DFB-Pokal this season.
Yeah, but what a fight Dortmund had to bring here to Braunschweig to call this one a win and to finish this one up. In the end, it was this brilliant pass from Marco Reus. No offside there, a couple of meters left for Jadon Sancho. And then it seems like he fumbled the ball a little bit, collects it back up, and has the speed to go around Jasmin Fajic and score the so important second goal to finish this game up. 2-0 Dortmund, and this will bring them into the next round of the DFB-Pokal. Or cup, as it's right in English, actually. But what a bummer there for Torgan Hazard, actually, who comes into this game, his first game after a period of, or after he was injured, and he picks up the same injury again, a muscular injury in his thigh.
Yeah, and taken off now by Dortmund after that second goal.
Yeah. You can only make it worse by keeping him on the pitch, limping around. And with 2 goals now and only maybe a couple of seconds left, there's absolutely no need to risk more damage.
As in the last 3 seasons that Dortmund have been knocked out of this competition in the round of 16. Tonight, though, they are booking their ticket there once again. And that second goal has certainly taken the tension out of the air here.
Yeah, I mean, of course, this game is over now. And they should be complaining about, you know, time management or whatever, because this one is over now.
The final whistle goes. This was not a vintage Borussia Dortmund performance by any stretch of the imagination. Solid, but not spectacular. But in the end, they've gotten the job done. They've booked their ticket to the DFB-Pokal round of 16. Mats Hummels and Jadon Sancho with the goals against a resilient Braunschweig side that couldn't get anything going up front. Final score at the Eintracht Stadion. It's Braunschweig 0, Borussia Dortmund 2.